Hi everybody, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel, and this is the weekly angel card reading video for the week beginning Monday the 2nd of July to Sunday the 8th of July 2018. So let's start shuffling and see what messages the angels have for us this week. What messages are going to help us make good decisions and reassure us, which is often the main thing that people get out of their readings with me is they say they feel reassured, which is amazing. I love hearing that. Steady progress. I call this the patience card. It's reassuring you that even though things aren't happening as fast as what you would like, and let's face it, we live in a society of instant gratification, so this is a hard one, but we need to know that even though things aren't happening as quickly as we like, they are going to happen, and we need to be patient with it. So try to understand there's so much more to the picture that you can't see. The angels are telling you that things are going to be okay. Keep going. Don't be discouraged. Don't give up, especially if you're one of the signs prone to impatience, such as Aries and what are other ones? I think Leo. Leos aren't particularly good at that long-range picture as well. No offense if you fall into one of those signs. It's not a bad thing. It just means that sometimes you need a reminder that I always use the gardening analogy with patience cards, because just about every deck has a card along that theme. When you plant seeds in the garden, you've got no control over when they're going to bloom. You've probably got a rough idea based on the seasons, but anything could happen. You don't know whether they're even going to bloom at all. But you have to keep tending to them, keep watering them, keep, pulling out weeds, etc. And then one day they will bloom, and it's completely out of your control. You've just got to show up and keep doing the work. It's the same with every goal we set in life. Keep committing to it, keep doing the work, and be okay with the fact it's not going to bloom or come to pass on your schedule. Sometimes there are some control freak issues there too, and Scorpios are particularly prone to that. Now, Tuesday's card is the Angel of Marriage, whose name is Daniel, and so this comes through if you're single and you really want, maybe not to get married, because not everybody wants to get married, but you want a long-term relationship. It doesn't really matter what form of commitment it takes, but it's focusing on that commitment. And this is reassuring you that that can happen for you. So please keep believing in it. Again, steady progress. I talked a bit on Instagram last week about how often when we are working towards something like a relationship, the universe gives us all this other stuff to work on in the meantime. And for me, that was developing my spirituality. And as I explained, I needed to do that work to get to a point where I was ready for a relationship, because it changed me so profoundly. My confidence, my sense of identity, understanding what I wanted, my sense of purpose and meaning in the world, and that made me a better partner. Otherwise, I would have been looking to my partner to supply all those things, which is just way too much pressure. If you are already married or already in a long-term relationship with your person, this is letting you know that obviously the work is not yet done, because a relationship takes a lot of work on a regular basis. So if you've got problems at the moment, some tension, again, I'm being told the steady progress might apply in that situation. Try to look at the long-term picture and know that you'll be able to ride this out as long as you keep showing up for each other. And also, if you aren't having any problems at the moment, this might be asking you to talk to Daniel and ask what you might need to do to keep your relationship ticking over and keep it secure and robust. You don't have to, but you might just intuitively even know without talking to the angels what your relationship needs. And often it's quality time, and in this modern world, that's the thing that happens. We're so busy with our other stuff, we neglect our relationship, because if there's not a problem, we don't think we need to deal with it. We're too busy dealing with all the other crises in our lives, and it is something that needs our constant time and care. Wednesday, creative writing. I'm a big fan of writing. Obviously, I do it professionally, but I also do it personally as well. There is research showing, Brene Brown is really hot on this sort of thing, research that if you spend time writing every single day, even just 10 minutes, you will be more emotionally resilient in the long term. It doesn't matter what you're writing. It could be utter nonsense. It's the act of writing. It's giving you an outlet, because sometimes we feel like we haven't got the space or the ability to say what we really feel, and think maybe we're shackled by social kind of constraints or something like that. But if you can get things out on paper, it really does lighten the load. So also, if you are not giving enough creativity in your life at the moment, creative expression is super important, and it also helps us tune into our intuition better. This is asking you to do something creative. It doesn't have to be writing. Obviously, that's what this card is flagging. But if you're doing something creative, whether it's playing a musical instrument, painting, colouring in, gardening, bit of a theme here, isn't it? Anything like that, creative cooking, not just the stuff you do because it's quick and easy. I mean, something creative and challenging. There are so many different forms of creativity, but you need to have some sort of outlet, and it's not something you do when you have time, when you've got time for fun. It's something you need to do regularly because it reinvigorates you and gives you all the energy and I guess the stamina to tackle other things better, and also clears your headspace enough so that you are better in other areas. Thursday, Mother Mary, expect a miracle. So Mother Mary is primarily associated with motherhood. So if you are trying to conceive, if you are having problems as a mother, this card will reassure you that you can, if you believe that it's going to be okay, that will help you a lot. So your mindset's really important. And just so it's about keeping the faith, really. If you think about the idea of miracles in any area of your life, so particularly if the whole motherhood thing doesn't apply to you, think about how there are so many things that we just blindly accept them because our subconscious, not really our subconscious, more our conscious mind or society or someone tells us that will never happen. So this is asking you to believe in things that can really happen for you. And I'm going a bit off track here, but be aware of where you are failing to believe or failing to open your mind up a little wider. Try to believe in things you cannot see. That's the main crux of this card. Friday. Oh, that came up quickly. Believe. Basically, everything I just said about faith applies to this card. So clearly that's the theme of the week. Keeping the faith. There are so many reasons not to believe, but there are infinitely more to believe because the rewards of that are immense. It's an important conduit in terms of you making your dreams come true, and it's important in helping you attract more blessings that might not even be things you'd focused on. And it's important to have faith to help you overcome your challenges as well. So I talked about resilience earlier. In The Alchemist, which is one of my favourite books, Paulo Coelho, I'm never too sure if I'm saying that correctly, my Portuguese isn't that good, but he says that the secret of life or the meaning of life is to fall down 7 times and get up 8. So resilience is huge. It's so important. And the other quote I use when it comes to faith is that faith is about taking the first step even though you can't see the whole staircase. So many people come to me for readings wanting to know how things are going to pan out, and sometimes the angels just won't tell you. Sometimes they'll tell you it's going to be okay, but sometimes they're like, you need to have faith and have a go, because if you knew that something wasn't going to work out, chances are you wouldn't do it. And sometimes we need to do things even if they don't work out, because there is something important we learn along the way that takes us in a different direction, which is actually better for us. So we don't always need to know how things are going to work out, and just because you don't know doesn't mean that you should abandon hope or that you should not do it. We are quite risk averse in our society, I find. This is a difficult one for Saturday. It's time to leave an unhealthy situation. When this comes up in a personal reading, I can be really focused about what it applies to, but because I'm speaking so generally, it's really hard for me to tell you what it means. But it could apply to a friendship that you're in that's toxic. It could apply to a job that you know you have to leave, but you're making all sorts of excuses about why you can't, such as, I'll never find another job. Again, faith. Or the money's so good. That's a big security or safety issue. And it's also a lack of faith. So other situations, it could be a relationship that's no longer right for you. Sometimes people don't like to leave relationships that they know are not right for them because they think it's an act of disloyalty, or because they've already invested so much time in it and they've already had so many great memories. But that doesn't mean that just because things were great in the past doesn't mean it's necessarily right for you now. So you'll know what this is right for you. It might not be something as dramatic as that. It might be something low grade, like, I don't know, a habit that you're doing. I can't think of anything right now, but It might be maybe you've got into habits of abandoning your exercise. That's me over the cooler months, and this is saying, hey, that's actually unhealthy for you. So look at where things are unhealthy, not just physically, emotionally, in fact, more emotionally, that's more relevant. What you're doing that is really not good for you, and how can you break free of that? Sunday, oh, cards are coming up so quickly now. I love that. Sunday, release all anger. I actually had this card come up for a client recently, and she couldn't think of any situation where she was angry, but what it was about releasing some trapped emotions. So it might not necessarily be about anger for you guys as well. So think about, where is the emotional blockage? Because emotional blockages show up in all sorts of areas. There is a school of thought that they are responsible for things like arthritis. It can be trapped emotions. Certainly anything digestive can be about emotions, because our digestion is how we process life, or digest life, I guess. So if you're holding on to things, i.e. constipated, it might be something that's really stuck in terms of your emotional state that you're just not willing to face up to. And anyway, release obviously is about letting go. So look for the emotion and where it needs to be released. It might be a resentment towards someone. It might be anger that something didn't go your way. And what can you do to, in a healthy way, release that and confront it? Because we are so programmed to avoid unpleasant things. That's why we reach for alcohol when we're upset, because we want to just get out of that emotion and not deal with it. But if we actually sit in the emotion and process it, it can shift, and we're better for it. It's not a lot of fun, I know, but that is what adulting is about. Not trying to hide your emotions in junk food or alcohol or sex or, or any number of vices we can use to avoid being in the present moment. And not that those things are necessarily bad within themselves. It's the way we use it. If we are using it to escape the present moment, that's a problem, because there's probably something in there that you need to deal with that you just don't want to deal with. And if that is a real problem for you, I would recommend you work with a counsellor or an energy healer to try and get to the bottom, to pull it out, because overcoming unpleasant emotions or just moving through them, even though they might not necessarily go away, and certainly in cases of grief, even sitting with them, they're not going to go away, but you will feel a bit lighter, because grief is such an ongoing, journey of difficult emotions, unfortunately. So let's look at the week. I think resilience and having the faith that things can work out even though you can't see it yet is a big theme. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The rest of them are sort of random, about the creative writing and the what you need to leave behind, but certainly that one's relevant to the emotional stuff we were talking about. So that's it for the week. Thank you. Oh my goodness, it's only 12 minutes. It's the shortest reading I've ever done in the history of my YouTube channel, which is awesome. Because I have not had a coughing fit and I wanted to avoid that. So thank you so much for the kind messages many of you left after last week. I know I sounded so sick and it wasn't very much fun to listen to. So thank you for listening anyway and getting the messages that you needed out of that. This is it for the week. I'll put these on my Instagram, as I do every single day. And my Facebook page as well. If you have a personal question, it is always best to book a reading. I don't always have a lot of time on social media to go into, delve into things with people. So the best way to do that is go to my website, and there are lots of helpful articles on there as well. So that's www.onegroundedangel.com. If you do want to reach me, click on the bookings tab. If you want more information about anything else I offer, such as angel card readings or energy healer, you can do that there too. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a terrific week.